What do they? They say there's no such thing as what? They say there's no such thing as what? They say there's no such thing as what?
Like a family weaving its story through time, made up of headstrong individuals, plotting their own courses, asserting their wills, yet nurtured by common roots, bound by common traits, pulled by similar destinies, we must now master and heal ourselves.
And, like that family, all members strive to make their mark. Sometimes rivalries swell between siblings and cousins, so restless, creative, and animated by life are we. But there's something that runs through all of us, something always humming underneath. Let us now let that note ring out as a chorus, a symphony to celebrate and know who we are. What of it then? What is it that runs throughout?
What of the free men of ancient Greece who could debate openly in town councils? But what too of the all-thing in Northern Europe, the meetings where consensus was arrived at through exchange and debate? Contests in ancient Greece determined the best plays, showing the individual stamp of the playwright. We later see that same one-upsmanship among painters to perfect light, shade, and perspective. What of our musical forms spreading across Europe, the orchestra and all of its instruments, the system of musical notation, sonatas, symphonies, operas? We hear a searching and longing in the various types of our music, in that vastness of space in orchestral scores, the love of the wandering troubadour, even the large and domineering sonics of the amplified electric guitar and sprawling electronic tones of our more contemporary music.
What of those who explored land and sea, seeking the ends of the earth, the Vikings, Romans, Macedonians? The Italian Marco Polo's curiosity and fascination with the unknown inspired fellow Italian Christopher Columbus to do something no one had done. Portugal's Henry the Navigator spoke of uncovering secrets previously hidden from men. These are not exceptions but traits, showing again in more recent polar exploration, mocked by some contemporary academics. But who of our people sound in mind and spirit could help but be moved by Robert Falcon Scott's stirring message to the public, his last words written while dying in Antarctica?
We took risks. We knew we took them. Things have come out against us, and therefore we have no cause for complaint, but bow to the will of Providence, determined still to do our best to the last. Had we lived, I should have had a tale to tell of the hardihood, endurance, and courage of my companions, which would have stirred the heart of every Englishman.
To quote our contemporary, Ricardo Duchesne, who asked in his book, The Uniqueness of Western Civilization, what caused the buildup of ideas? From the Italian Galileo to the Polish and Prussian Copernicus, these ideas then being picked up and debated across Europe, to the Dane Tycho Brahe in his study of comets, the German Kepler building on Brahe, and also the Englishman William Gilbert. These ideas then fused with the Dutchman Christian Huygens' centrifugal force, the French Descartes' algebraic geometry, and so on. A sense of independence and freedom runs throughout our history. What we find in our people is that rather than state-sanctioned, top-down mandates directing scientific and artistic life, the Westerners more often had independent spaces of inquiry. Guilds, universities, laboratories, artistic circles, who sought to dare and create and explore.
Rome developed an intricate legal system of concepts that reflected the individuality of each person. In Old English, the word for law was lagu. In Old Norse, log, referring to past deed laid down in layers. We even find in Old Germanic society all free men and women who comprised the majority of the society being equal under the law. After centuries, the above examples influenced the English common law, European parliaments, and the US Bill of Rights and separation of powers. Were these just good ideas, or perhaps a natural fit, an instinct? Can such notions sometimes get out of hand? Are they, like anything, susceptible to corruptions and confusions? Can they be skewed when confronted with outside ideas and unusual circumstances? Of course, but the fact is that examples of our sensibilities and the way we create our environments can be found in varying eras. We are not defined by just one turn of events in history.
E.L. Jones called us ceaseless tinkerers in his book The European Miracle. In this era of censorship, there's a statistic by Charles Murray in his book Human Accomplishment that could probably get this video banned and put our channels at risk, so we will leave it to you to be an adult and look it up. But shall we just say here, history is not just a question of invention and not just a question of influence, because everyone is influenced by what they learn or observe from others. It's what you do with skills or information that bears your mark. To quote David Landers, Europeans did not invent the heavy plough, but they did improve and adapt it. They did not invent the horse collar and the horseshoe, but they did improve it to create a new style of warfare. They did not invent watermills, but they did improve upon new accessory devices.
Whence does this come? With such engines of passion and curiosity driving us, conflicts naturally arise, but past wars do not negate the wider bonds of our people. Oftentimes, wars were fought to assert sovereignty, hearkening again to that theme of freedom. And of course, sometimes we were at the hands of leaders who, unrestrained by small-scale bonds and duties, sought megalomaniacal gains, or sold out to the lure of unchecked power, sometimes subverted by alien influences.
This doesn't mean that when the German and English soldiers put down their arms to play games with each other during the Christmas truce of World War I, they didn't know deep down that they were related. They did. Just like in the early 1900s, when elderly Union and Confederate soldiers embraced each other at American Civil War battle anniversaries. Just like all of Europe responded in horror to the massacre at Chios, when tens of thousands of Greeks were killed by Ottoman troops during the Greek War of Independence.
What of the many claims in varying parts of our lands to the stories of King Arthur and his knights? Arthur's name is related to the word bear. Arth is Welsh, cognate with the Greek Arctos and Latin Ursus. We looked up in our northern skies near the Arctic and saw the Ursa constellations, containing the North Star which guided our explorers. In Finland's epic, the Kalevala, the bear is referred to about 60 times. We see offerings to ancestral spirits of grain and dairy in the days of old, as our children now excitedly leave cookies and milk for what we call in modern English Santa Claus and Father Christmas.
In spring and summer, we find similar folk customs among the various European cultures. These related festivals taking place around May 1st carry some regional distinctions, but all bear similar key elements, from Floralia to May Day, to Walpurgisnacht, to Beltane, to Rudinitia. Other related holidays throughout the year demonstrate a calendar, a rhythm, shared symbols, meanings and beliefs that reveal commonalities amidst a splendid assortment of regional expressions. Are we to be told we are unrelated when we see different versions of the Cinderella fairy tale found among the varying strands of our ethnicities? Aschenputtel in Germany, Cendrillon in France, Cenerentola in Italy, Ashipelt in Ireland, Katie Woodencloak in Norway, Rashin Koti in Scotland, Pepelaska in Bulgaria, the hearth cat in Portugal. We share a bond and worldview, as reflected in our stories and customs, that have lasted through the ages, seeing ourselves in them.
There exist different theories about migration of peoples, different theories and new discoveries being made about genetics. At least in the recent history we currently know of, we are peoples who were forged between the Arctic and Mediterranean, between the Atlantic and the Black Sea and Caucasus region. Some of us ventured out, and the lands where we settled bear the marks of our instincts, our ethnoculture, our biospirit. We can thus feel at home when we travel in various parts of the Americas, Australia and New Zealand, South Africa.
No matter what we may learn, no matter how surprised we may be by future findings, our story reaches back much further than is commonly thought today. Know what has been shared in this presentation. Let it spur you on to discover more. Know that we have a common source, and that now, more than ever, share a common fate. Be well.